Hello Metalheads, I'm Helevon and today I'm back with a new analysis of a Cradle of Filth song, also from their 1994 album The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, namely To Eve the Art of Witchcraft. Like in many other songs from this album, the lyrics of the song focus on a primordial human being, in this case, Eve. As I see it, there isn't much to tie the female entity in this song to the character in the Bible, or more exactly to her story as it is told in the Bible, since there is no mention of Adam or the apple or her role as a wife or even to God. But rather, Eve is here an archetype of the powerful and insubordinate woman who subverts all Christian values. So Eve, who is traditionally associated with the origins of sin and the fall of humanity, and presented in the Bible as the scapegoat for a very costly mistake, is here glorified as a powerful and knowledgeable figure capable of wielding the arcane arts, and thus challenging God's authority. I mentioned in my analysis of her Ghost in the Fog that in Cradle of Filth's lyrics and in extreme metal in general, the witch appears as a female archetype, a transgressive woman who stands against the values of Christianity, which historically demonized women for practicing witchcraft. Thus, the witch is fond of and knowledgeable of the dark side, magic, the occult, and everything anti-Christian. She is seductive, the temptress or whore being another female archetype traditionally demonized by Christianity. She is looking for a male lover and acolyte to do her bidding, and we see in their bond the typical Gothic relationship inspired from medieval chivalric romance of a lady and her knight, always fraught with doubt and struggle on the side of the knight, because his is the perspective that we see, as it is in Cradle of Filth's lyrics as well. And to this are added the dark twists of the Gothic genre, including strong religious and anti-Christian themes. So let's listen to the song and see how all these ideas apply to it. The male speaker refers to himself as a voyeur and implores the female entity to come to him, giving a sense of longing and anticipation for her arrival, and suggesting that he has been admiring her from a distance, but he now wishes to make their relationship tangible. The words stealth and unseen point to her occult nature and her connection with the forbidden. Her arrival is announced by the fallen angels from biblical apocrypha, Uzzah and Azazel, or Azazel. I'm not sure how to interpret the invocation of the goddess of the moon, but maybe Eve is referred to as such through her association with darkness at first, even before she's called Eve in the song. The speaker is her slave due to his longing for her, so the biblical role of Eve as a temptress of Adam is emphasized and celebrated here. So she's a temptress of all men, leading them away from anything Christian. Such a beautiful invocation here. This is one of my favorite stanzas ever. The speaker professes his eternal devotion to her. She is the archetype of darkness, of the thwarting of God's plan, and the fall of humanity as God intended it to be. So she can spread darkness over the earth with the help of her devotees. The metaphor of the male speaker spreading this darkness like a flower is amazing. So he wants to be possessed by her. She can bury herself in his wounds and be forever inside of him. So it sounds like he is sacrificing himself, hoping to receive her reward. And now we can see how she may reward him if he proves worthy. As Eve greeted the serpent into the Garden of Eden, so she can now greet him, the speaker, as well. His greatest reward is to be by her side and to become her lover. I think the word ride supports the idea that himself as a serpent entering her dark secret Eden is also a metaphor for their sexual encounter. He says he will always want for her, meaning yearn for her, which keeps him forever devoted to the black arts. So his soul is damned because of his love. Witchcraft is always depicted as sensual by Cradle of Filth, loaded with a lot of sexual symbolism, and the line "Witchcraft is desire" was a beautiful illustration of this idea, and here in this stanza we see it continued. Sin and sexuality are strongly tied together, so the male speaker is subordinated to her. He crawls at her feet, he gives her latria or latria, which means supreme worship, and she is here called Lamia, a monstrous yet seductive female being from Greek myths associated with sexual temptation and murder. In some myths, Lamia kills the men she seduces, and in others she is a monster who is serpent-like, who steals and eats babies, which is her curse by the goddess Hera for having seduced Zeus. So she is in all incarnations of this myth portrayed as associated with temptation. Also in Romanticism, by which I mean the 19th century cultural movement, Lamia is a symbol of the seductive and destructive woman, as we see in the poetry of John Keats, for example. We had the line, "Wisdom breeds fecundity." And I see this as another correlation between sexuality and witchcraft, or knowledge and desire. Remember that it is Eve, the woman, who thirsted for knowledge so much that she broke the law of God. So she is a symbol of wisdom. Wisdom traditionally means spiritual enlightenment, and people who are skilled in magic are called wise men or wise women in many traditions. And interestingly, females are the ones predominantly associated with magic in most cultures. But here in this myth of Adam and Eve, we see the Judeo-Christian explanation for why that is. So his great passion for Eve motivates him to attack Eden. I see the male figure here as almost as an embodiment of the serpent, or a serpent wannabe. So someone who wants to be the serpent, who destroys the sanctity of Eden and who tastes Eve. So he lurks outside her sabled court, sabled meaning black, so outside her black Eden, seeking entry, because Eve is the bringer of darkness. I really love this next part. It's one of my favorite things ever from Cradle of Filth. It is an amazing monologue, something that I think rivals the monologue of Elizabeth Bathory from Bathory area.
Gentle stream that trickles through the summer glades of evergreen peace. There we will drink my sleep and dream. I am as a bleeding sky, a snatching wind of war blowing through a savage garden. My crown is fire, the erotic sinews of lust, like strings to be pulled and cut. I will make my puppets dance. The men will bow down before me to take my flesh as submissive thoughts of dark unbridled love. I know these things and more, cause I await you, nemesis of restraint, the current of life and the bride of evil itself.
Oh, I love this so much. Cradle of Filth doesn't have a lot of female vocals, but when they do appear, they have an even more powerful effect. It's giving me huge chills. This is so beautifully interpreted, both eerily soft and powerful at the same time. And that music in the background that sounds so airy. You can imagine Eve in the Garden of Eden saying these things. And, well, the keyboards in this song are amazing and so atmospheric. So here she's basically presented herself as a force of nature. All those natural descriptions suggesting Eden, right? The summer glades, the eternal peace, the gentle stream. But she's also a master or mistress of the arcane. And her words here are a magic spell. So she's basically casting magic. She is hypnotizing the listener, the men in particular, as it says here. It's the men who bow down before her. Right? She says, you will drink my sleep and dream. And once you are under her spell, she reveals her true power. She is fire and lust and a warbringer. She embodies not the peaceful Garden of Eden, but rather a savage garden, a place where primal instincts and desires are free to roam and flourish without the constraints of society or morality. So it can, this syntagm savage garden can refer to the world, to mankind, and its potential for chaos. Eve's fiery crown and erotic lust serve as symbols of her power and dominance over others. The puppets she mentions represent the people, the men specifically, who are subservient to her will. So when they take her flesh, or they wish to take her flesh, she asserts her control over them. In other words, as the song said before, she poisons their soul from within. So she's the bride of evil, the code of life, and the nemesis of restraint, the challenger of restraint and convention. And she invites her lover and devotee to join her in her savage garden. This is just brilliant. So evidently he is hypnotized by her. He wants to know her and to possess the knowledge that she represents. So Eden has been ransacked, the tree has been plundered, and all that remains now is himself, the speaker, and Eve, and the forbidden knowledge that they now both share. So both their love and their lust and their knowledge and magic are now unbridled. The song is truly a celebration of witchcraft and sensuality and of the female and the transgression that she represents. In another song by Cradle of Filth, we find a different and more traditional take on the figure of Eve, namely in Serpent from their song Damnation and a Day, which focuses more on the Genesis. And there Eve is depicted as the wife of Adam and presented in contrast with Lilith, who in Serpent is the one who gains the occult dimension that Eve is given here. But I really love this depiction of Eve in this song, and like I said in my previous videos where I announced that I want to discuss this song, I take it as a sort of a representative song for the image of the witch, which is one of the most recurrent ones in Cradle of Filth lyrics. So this was my analysis, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, please click the subscribe button and the like, and stay tuned for another analysis of metal lyrics.